worrying about a play that's coming to the county very soon called Chopped Liver and Unions. It's about activist Sarah Wesker. In the East End of London, she actually led the Singing Strikers of 1928 and was involved in many protests in the 20s and 30s, including the Battle of Cable Street as well, quite a few. Lottie Walker is the actor who has put this show together and has actually had help from the Wesker family.
Yeah, it's really nice. Stan Wesker, Arnold Wesker's son, who sadly is no longer with us, he died last year. He was really helpful. He even trawled the internet for me, looking for dresses that like the ones that Sarah might wear, because he remembered her, but there are no real pictures of her.
Wow.
Which was nice. And his mum called me. So Lady Wesker rang and gave me some family anecdotes and things. So it's just been lovely. I've met lots and lots of lovely people as a result of this process, which is really good.
Wow, so there's a level of authenticity that you've been able to get from people who knew her. That's incredible.
Well, and I feel so lucky because we contacted them because we're very aware that normally we talk about people who, really no one's heard about and they're totally forgotten. But we were so aware that she had living relatives and we wanted to be respectful and do it right and not do it at all if they really didn't want us to. But they were over the moon that we did, because she has pretty much been written out of the history books. And even if you look at sort of the union history and stuff, all the people that worked with her, the men, they're all quoted. They've had books written about them and all sorts. And there's someone's written a lovely article about Sarah, actually, that says she was tiny. She's about 4'9", 4'11" or something. But they said when she spoke, it was the voice of 6 men speaking. And you think, what a shame that someone who had that level of oratory and command of language has not had one of her words written down. Nothing remains of what she actually said.
Wow.
So we've written them for her. Hopefully we've done her justice.
I can see why the family really wanted to be involved. What from Sarah's story do you hope us as the audience take away from this play?
Well, that's at the moment, actually, there is an awful lot of Sarah's story that is very resonant with what's happening in the world today. It covers all sorts of things. We've got the problems of the working classes, we've got sexism, there's ageism, there's the rise of the far right. When we first started doing the show, it was 2023. And we thought, this is really good. Not that everyone was suffering, but everyone was on strike. And we thought this is going to resonate with people, so it's, we've captured the zeitgeist, and that's what we should be doing. We should be raising awareness with other people. And then 2024, we did the show again. And that was the centenary of the first Labour government, and the Equal Pay Act and all of that had an anniversary that year. And this year, it just seems that all the stuff that we're talking about it's actually happening in the real world. And I saw something the other day that said the problem with history teaching in schools is that they told us what happened and when it happened, but they don't tell you how it happened and how it might happen again. So what lots of the younger people who've come to see the play have said is that they can see the similarities. And I always say to them, well, the only things that seem to change are the names. It happens time and time again. So, and the good thing about Sarah was she was all about doing it for yourself. So it is people protest and looking at the stuff that's been happening over in the States this weekend with people taking to the streets and everything. That's what they were doing in the 1930s. And the 20s when Sarah was around. Next year, we've got the anniversary of the general strike coming up, 100 years of the general strike in 1926. So she would have been involved in that. She fought at the Battle of Cable Street. So there's so much that is relevant. But saying that, it makes it sound like it's a news item, and it isn't. It's funny. If we don't do anything else in the East End, we don't take ourselves seriously, which is brilliant. So there's humour in it, lots of self-deprecating humour. And there's lots of music. We've got music of the time to underscore things so people can actually think about, were they listening to George Gershwin at that time? And we've also got some of the strike songs and lots of protest songs that we found as well. So
like original ones.
Yes, yeah. So even some of the ones that Sarah sang, which is brilliant.
So you can really get into the feel of the time with the music as well. There's lots to experience in this show, it seems. Have more from Lottie Walker in just a moment.